Hellos and welcomes back once again, AnthWolf here with more Pillars of Eternity. Let us continue. We are now heading back towards the gallows tree. Aha. Caldara de Berancy. Suppose that's the Animancer. Welcome to our lovely village. Thank you. In fact, actually, before we do anything else, let's just take pity on you and give you your hood back. I can't take you seriously. We have some spare books. Oh, you have a rapier as your secondary weapon. Let's actually believe the. Well, I was going to put a shield on you, but actually a one-handed weapon probably increase your accuracy again. So that's fine. So this may be a bad idea with the magistrate here, but we'll do it. The squat descended body of an elderly dwarf woman dangles from a thin, crooked bough that sags at the tug of her noose. The bloated purple flesh of her neck, worn away in patches like moth-eaten linen, bulges over a rope that suspends her, and her lifeless head lolls forward rigidly from one side to the other when the breeze shifts. You perceive a faint glow around her that casts no light on its surroundings, but there is a tepid warmth to it, and you feel somehow that you could reach out and touch it. But not with your hands, but with some aspect of yourself that has no worldly dimension. Well, let us reach out then. You take a deep breath. Clearing your mind and focusing on your objective as you exhale, you feel yourself spreading out towards the hanging woman, perceiving all that lies between you and her with new unfamiliar awareness. Once you have expanded enough to reach her, there is a sudden jolt to your mind. A ringing electric surge of images and words and sounds. Involuntarily, you close your eyes and feel yourself being pulled down some deeper consciousness in a space occupied by only you and the hanging woman, and when you open them again, she is staring at you with eyes clouded with a milky fog, her body still swinging in a wind that you no longer feel from a tree that stands planted in a misty void. The woman gives you a slow nod of her head, the rope creaking as she does so, and she smiles at you.
Have you come here for me, dear, or have you gotten lost? Ah, it is both, I think. Yes?
Am I imagining this?
No, I think not. A pity that. It would be simpler. A mercy even. To not have to wander anymore, no? Alas, we are here, you and I, wherever here may be.
How are you able to speak to me?
Is that what we're doing? Perhaps it just seems that way. Perhaps it is the easiest way for your mind to make sense of it. I think it is a very good choice.
I think I need to understand something that's happened to me. She nods, a look of pity on her face as though consoling a child.
The world looks a little different than it used to, is that it? Feels like you're noticing things for the first time that have always been there. You have seen past the shroud. It only takes an instant. Your soul remembers, yes? Remembers how it sees when it leaves the body, like being reminded of a dream you had forgotten. You are a watcher now, and a watcher you will stay.
And what exactly is a watcher?
What indeed? Long hours have many Animancers spent studying such things. Not I, though. Not I. I'll tell you what I know, though, since fair is fair, and here we are visiting, you and I, and it reminds me of better times. Souls pass on, some say through Audra stones, which are the blood veins of the world. They leave the world for a time and are reborn into it, sometimes more than they were before, but usually less and seldom the same. For all souls there is a time where they do not live, yet have not passed on, and those souls roam the world, same as you or I, either living or lost. But no one sees them because they have forgotten how.
Like those blue ghosts we've been seeing, I guess.
A watcher sees, though, knows what to look for. And sometimes they know a person just by looking at them, know where they've been in ages past when their bodies were other bodies, see memories even their owner can't recall. A wonder to behold when all goes well, a wonder.
What do you exactly mean by that, when all goes well?
Oh, nothing to be afraid of, I'm sure. It's just much to take in for some. Sometimes there's trouble sleeping or other difficulties. You should see old Meerwald. He could tell you much more than I. A watcher just like you. Helped many in his day. Took up in an old keep no one would claim. Not far, not far. Kadnua, beyond the Black Meadow. He will welcome the company.
We've been told about the Black Meadow before, actually. It's to the east. I think I survived a baywhack. Do you know why that would be?
Did you now, dear? My, that would be something, wouldn't it? Could be luck, could certainly be. A storm can be a careless thing.
To be fair, we weren't the only one who survived, but our companions died by other means on the journey here.
Or maybe it got its hands around your soul but couldn't pick it up. A soul can be heavy if it stayed in one piece through its time. Strong souls, we call them in the trade. Cold, I mean. Called them. Those days are all behind me, no?
You said souls break apart over time? How do you mean?
Oh, yes. Entropy. Rimagan's work. We know little of why or how. We lose pieces of ourselves when we die and pick up pieces of others when we are born again, but less than what we lost. We tried to stop it with the animantic sciences, but with little success.
Oh, so this is talking about like the wheel of like the cycle of death and rebirth, but apparently when you are reborn, you are always going to be less than what you were.
A very small few resist Rimergan's influence and stay together through some force of defiance, at least for a time. But they all succumb eventually, I think.
Can I know about you?
Me? I'll bore you to tears, though.
Can I ask who you were?
And here I thought you'd come to visit me in particular. Caldara de Baranzi, of the Valian Royal Academy of Animantic Sciences. Not the greatest of their number, but I came here all the same because this was where help was needed.
What exactly happened to you? She laughs, a rasping, choked cackle escaping between rows of buttering yellow teeth, causing her body to bob up and down with each spasm.
Oh, come now, such a question, as though the answer were plain as a rope tied for strangling. Allow an old dwarf her last bit of cheer. Well, I came where I was needed, didn't I? Offered my services to Lord Radric for a pittance, a humble pittance. I was to examine the Lord's wife, see why the gods have seen fit to poison her womb. Studied her for months, looked high and low for impurities, tested her valence, the permeability of her essence. Do you know what I found?
Tell me.
Nothing at all. A healthy woman, head to toe, blessed with a beautiful soul. Such a sweet woman, too. Meek, but warm-hearted. A few months' time, and the lord of the house demanded answers. For a time, I told him what he wanted to hear. Oh, yes, my lord, she is riddled with imbalances. I must have time to cure her. As the birth drew near, he grew impatient, as lords do. And this is where I've ended up.
I see. But there's nothing wrong with her at all, but the bell still tolled 3 times. So something's wrong. Anyhow, so, what exactly is an Animancer anyway?
A student of the soul. Something so basic, yet so poorly understood. But so many breakthroughs have been made in my lifetime. Had been. To hear the locals tell it, we're a gang of soul manglers that preys upon the weak-minded. And the worst of us are. But the best of us, the best, inspirations, miracle workers. My parents were soul twins, miserable before they met, empty inside. It was an Animancer who helped one find the other, turned their lives around. You wouldn't believe the stories. Amnesiacs helped to remember their lives. The suicidal brought back from the brink of oblivion. The elderly afforded extra moments to say their goodbyes. How soon we forget when we're afraid.
This is true.
It's a fascinating science. A fascinating time to be alive in a place like Deerwood that does not control the research, no? I love the Valian Republics for many things, but their recent caution will leave them behind, I fear.
I had other questions.
Of course, dear.
But that was actually the last one I was going to ask, so I will bid you farewell.
Goodbye, my dear. It was lovely visiting.
She closes her eyes and head slumps forward over the noose, and your surroundings seem to bleed into your vision from some unknown place of waiting. Are you alright? You seem lost just now. Apparently I'm something called a Watcher. Well, that is interesting. Thankfully I'm wearing my hood so my eyebrows can arch and recede into it. And I expect this has something to do with the hooded figures in these ruins, In any case, I appreciate your honesty. Since we're travelling together and all, it's probably wise for us to share about these things. Do you know anything about them? Only that they're rare and that they seem to have unique insight into certain soul conditions. As you just demonstrated. Well, let us continue on then. So, we've gained another breadcrumb. We must then travel to Cadnuia. They've got a lot of silent letters in their kind of vocabulary. It's Cadnuia. Oh, hello. Oh, visions and whispers have now ended. I have a word now for what I have become, a Watcher. It seems that I am to learn more about this affliction. I must seek out a man named Merwald in the Old Keep. And of course we still have the quest for the Smith's shipment. The Gilded Veil Smith has been expecting a shipment for supplies for a long time. He worries that something has befallen the wagon which was travelling along the eastern road. He has asked me to seek out the ones of the Black Hammer Smithy's supply wagons. Very well.
17.5.
What about? Oh. The smell of pipe smoke. Once earthy and sweet winds its way into your nostrils, your eyes trace the smoke to its origin, where you find a broad man with straw-coloured hair leaning against a mossy rock wall, struggling with the words. He looks directly in your eyes, but the look is not aggressive. They regard you with a particular smirk.
17.5. Could be 18, depending on how you count the dwarf woman.
I'm sorry?
The dwarf woman. You were trying to figure out whether to count her as a full person. I think you oughta.
What are you talking about?
The people hanging from the tree. 18 of them. Well, last I counted, anyway.
Is that what you people do for fun around here?
Name's Adair. Though to the people around here, might as well be 19. Don't think I'd put you much higher than 22, 23 tops. You look like the sort that likes to get involved.
What makes you think I was interested in the dwarf woman? He looks at you a moment, his brow arched, his smirk broadens.
I was smoking over here, saw you staring at her. Twice I refilled my pipe. You never so much as blinked. Your mouth was so slack I took you for a Radric at first.
Well, you're an interesting sort. Let me ask you if you know what a watcher is.
Careful, friend. Best not use that word round here. There'd be any number of Radric bootlickers within earshot. Ciphers, Animancers, Watchers. Same thing in the eyes of folks around here, Radric especially. They come through these parts all the time with their cures, preying on the desperate. None of them are who they claim to be.
Yeah, good warning, I suppose. I appreciate it.
Of course, seeing you with that funny look, I'd be halfway inclined to believe you were having some kind of communion with that dwarf. Either case, maybe I'm not 19 after all. No offense.
You think you're going to be hanged?
The town's had it in for me for a long time now. Only fellow who ever stuck up for me, well, he's number 18 up there. My headman on the farm. Used to be my captain during the war.
Which war would that be? The Saints' Roar. Only one in my lifetime. Fella decides he's the living incarnation of Ephesus, overthrows Radaceres, marches on Drywood. So he gave him a Dryrodian hello. What is that exactly?
We blew him up.
Oh, nice. And who is Eothas? The god of rebirth and redemption, formally anyhow. Maybe they call him something different from where you're from. I have other questions. Why was your headman hanged, exactly? He got involved. Roderick sent men down here the other day, said he had a good authority someone in town was working with Kulsik, plotting with Roderick's overthrow. Said if he didn't come forward right then and there, they'd hang every last one of us. No one was coming forward. So Swiffen, that's my headman, steps up and says it's him. They took him at his word. Bound to happen sooner or later. If not for plotting against Roderick, then for protecting me. What does your town have against you exactly?
Pick the wrong god. That's what it comes down to. Used to be a lot of Aethys worshippers in Gilded Vale. That mess of rocks over there, that was a temple to him, to give you some idea. Then one day, somebody named Widewind shows up on Deerwood's doorstep. Says he's the living flesh of Aethys. Got an army with him. Suddenly, Aethys isn't so popular in these parts. My brother Woden and me, neither of us believed it. No way was that Aethys. He enlisted, and then I did too. But, he didn't make it back.
We've recognised Waden before. We've had that name come up, and I can't think of it just off the top of my head where it's from. But I'm sure we'll find Waden's legacy. Yeah, that was it.
After the war, people took to punishing Aethys worshippers, accusing them of treason. Got real ugly, especially after the legacy started. Folks needed someone to blame. I was safe because I fought, but then this rumor starts that my brother, that he was on the wrong side. And I wasn't so safe anymore. Not till my headman stepped in and said they'd have to hang him to get to me. Seems that's no longer a concern. Of course, the townies don't do the hanging these days, but when Radric's men come, they got no problem doing the pointing.
You can see now why I was eager to leave. Yes, that's true. So who exactly is this Kulsik? Someone who got tired of all the hangings. He's on the run now. Probably will be till they catch him. And if you're next to be hanged, what are you still doing here? Drinking, mostly. Point of fact, I'm on my way out. Just haven't figured out where I'm going yet. Not a whole lot of places out there that I don't think Waldron's legacy started with Wolgan. Sure, we could travel together if you so wish. Where you headed? Someplace called Cadnuia. There's an old watcher there who might be able to help me.
Seem to remember hearing something about that years ago. He tamed that place. People would seek him out for all kinds of things. Troubles of the soul, questions for the departed. Of course, that was back when you didn't have to say watcher with a hush on your breath. A man such as that, there'd be things I'd want to ask him. Don't know why I never thought of it before. Not sure how I feel about setting out with a stranger, and a strange one at that. But truth be told, you might be the only one in town who wouldn't feel some relief seeing me swing from that tree.
There's a fine reason if I ever heard one. Sorry, I double-clicked there, my finger was a bit twitchy.
Alright then. Guess I'll do some sightseeing. Long as you're not the one picking the sights.
Let's get going then. We have a new quest. Bring Ada to speak with Maywild. Okay. He's a level 3 fighter. He's one of the meadow folk. He was a farmer. He has high might and constitution. Reasonable everything else. He's wearing some Saints war armor. And he has Celis endurance. Oh, but that's what, because I've given him that. He has +2 stealth, +5 athletics. Not too bad. As a fighter, he has constant recovery, recovering his endurance. He is a defender. The fighter adopts a more conservative combat strategy, concentrating on defending incoming attacks. He receives a bonus to deflection, increasing his or her number of engagement targets to 3 at the expense of attack rate. And he has the knockdown ability. Excellent.
Hey. Alright.
So he's a fellow tank, I suppose. Let's have a look. You're wearing some medium armor. You have a reasonable amount of endurance as well. And it grants second chance. Don't know what second chance does exactly, but sounds interesting. You have a saber. And a medium shield. And a war bow as your secondary weapon. Interesting. One thing I've noticed about this game, there isn't actually like a weapon specialization. Well, there is, but not like the old Baldur's Gate style games. So,
sure.
We have a third party member. Can we change our formations? We probably want... How do we switch these out, I wonder? Do we have a party management? Oh, that's a stronghold. We've had it before, I'm sure. Oh, well. I've forgotten how you do it, but I'm certain there's a way you can. What I'm going to do... I don't know why I'm heading back. Actually,
How may I help?
let's have a look at your... Right. That's a decent range. Wow, really? It goes that far? Interesting. I will end this video here. Say we have the fragments of scattered faith. Elder has agreed to travel with me. He seemed to have some questions he thought a watcher might be able to answer. So Maywold, well, both of us have a word with Awold. I want to go speak to some of the people who we've now looked into their souls and see if we can actually form a full party here before we actually leave the Gilded Vale, or at least continue to explore it to see if we can have any more storyline. I see we haven't visited some places just yet, so I'm kind of curious. So, of course, this has been AnthWolf, and this has been Pillars of Eternity. I hope you've all enjoyed, and I hope you all take care. And I'll see you for more of the videos in the near future. Bye bye now.